Hey, Jason Seiden here. All right, so before I begin this week's video, which is coming to you as a response to a request, it's been a huge news week, and it just feels like I have to acknowledge a couple things. Number one, I got engaged this weekend. I asked Lis I to marry me, and she said yes, and I could not be happier. So if you follow me if we're connected on Instagram or Facebook, you may have seen this. I feel like I should mention that. Number two, my daughter graduated high school, which is kind of awesome. Congratulations, Jazz. And number three, last week, I did a video on how I felt that social media, you should need a license to be on social media. And I had a few comments conflating licensing with censoring. And just to be clear, I don't believe in censoring anybody. You should be able to speak your mind. I just don't believe that just because you have the right to speak means you should have the privilege of speaking on the largest platform humanity's ever known. Those to me are different things, so for what it's worth. But this week, let's talk negotiation. And this is a response to a question that comes from Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. There's a lot that can be said about negotiation. I can do an entire series on that. I'm going to share one thing that I have found to be helpful and useful that I don't think is shared enough when people talk about negotiations, and that is tell the truth. You know, I did a video a few weeks ago on BS Quotient Zero. It's true in negotiations too. And here's what I'm talking about. When you walk into a negotiation, especially today, we do our homework. We all have an internet. Chances are, whatever it is you're afraid of acknowledging, like that thing that you don't want to admit because you think it's going to be a weak point, the person you're talking to already knows it. Strength actually comes from admitting it and knowing who you are. And far from putting you in a bad position, the integrity actually puts you in a good position to then ask for your value with the things that really create your value. All right, so what am I talking about? What's the for instance? Let's say you've recently graduated. And in this case, let's say you've recently graduated college. Let's say Tulane or Northwestern, and you're applying for a job. They're not hiring you because you went to a good school or you're smart. It's great that you're smart. You have learned how to solve problems and you've proven yourself able to do so. But make no mistake, the guy to your right has 10 years of experience. The woman to your left has relationships in the industry that are older than you. Your value is that you're reasonably cheap relative to your peers and you're willing to work hard, right? Like you don't know your own value yet, so you're willing to prove yourself. And that is your value. If you're up against me for that job, I can't compete with you on that level. But if you tried to compete on intelligence or experience or relationships, you'd lose. I could beat you on any of those things. I compete based on my strengths. You have to compete on your strengths. So if somebody asks me if I'm, can you work at this salary? No, I can't, and I won't. I've already proven myself. I know my value. You'll get your value, but it's different. So if somebody says, hey, you don't have a lot of experience, that's right. I don't. That's why I'm here. That's why I don't cost as much as other people, right? You can tell the truth. I do a lot in HR software. I see this mistake all the time. People who sell a platform, like a recruiting platform, an ATS solution. You're a platform. Are you the best solution for each function that you provide? Probably not, because the people buying you aren't looking for you to be the best. They're looking for an all-in-one solution. So does it hurt you to say, yeah, no, like we've got built-in functionality across the board? And quite honestly, there's some companies out there that do specific items better than we do. That's why we have an ecosystem of partners. You're free to add them on. You lose nothing by saying that because they were never looking to you to be the very best in the first place. They're looking for an all-in-one. Now, the flip side is also true. If you are selling a spot solution and somebody says, can you plug in and do all the things? The answer is no, right? We're not a platform. That is not how we compete. We compete by doing one thing and by being the best in the world at that one thing. If this is one of your big problems, we're your people. If you want us to jump through hoops and pretend we're a platform, we're all gonna have a lot of pain down the road. Tell the truth. It will not erode your value. If you're working with the right people, it won't erode your value because they already know where you're weak. Secondly, it'll put you in a position of being able to capture full value for where you're strong because you're being honest. So if you're honest about your shortcomings, you're gonna be honest about your strengths, and you can put an honest value to those. Third, if you do run into problems with somebody, being straightforward and telling the truth, get the hell out of there. This is not somebody you want to do business with. And there you go. That's the negotiation tip of the day. Thanks, Daniel. I really appreciate you watching the videos and submitting the ask. I love you, everybody. See you next week.